This is Unit 9, Video 1, Simplifying Radicals. We're going to do square roots, but anytime you see this symbol here, it's a radical. It depends on what's here. For example, that's the cubed root. Okay, if it has nothing, there's an actual 2, and that's our square root. And then we can have 4s, which mean the fourth root. Okay, so we're going to be doing the square roots. So you don't have to put a 2, okay, when you're talking about square roots. If it's any other root besides a square, then you have to put the number. Okay, so one thing you need to remember is a square root is the same thing of having an exponent of a half. Okay, so those two are the same thing. Okay, so if I had 9 to the 1/2, it is the same thing as asking about the square root of 9, which is plus or minus 3. Okay. All right, so here we go. We have 120. So 120 is not a perfect square. So how we're going to do this is we are going to break it down into factor trees. Okay, and we're looking for pairs. Okay, so we'll break it down into prime. You don't have to break it down into prime, but that's the way I'm going to teach it, and then I'll show you guys some shortcuts once we get it. So I'm going to break down 120 as 12 and 10. Okay, you could do something else. The only thing I wouldn't use is 1s here because it's not going to change the problem. Okay, so now I'm going to break down 12 into 4 and 3. 3 is prime, so I'm going to circle it. 4 I can still break down in 2 and 2. So 2s are prime, so I'm going to circle them. It helps to circle them so we can find them later. Okay, and 10 I'm going to break down 5 and 2. Both are prime, so I'm going to circle them. Okay, so now what happens is we have our square root. Anytime I can pair a number up with another number, it's going to come out. So every pair, 1 comes out. So see how I have these 2 2s? That's a pair of 2s. So I am going to bring out 1, 2. Okay, and those are gone. Okay, now the 3 cannot pair up with any other 3. The 5 can't, and the 2 can't. Okay, so they stay inside, and I'm going to multiply them back together. So we have 2 square root of 3 times 5 is 15 times 2 is 30. So this is my answer. Okay, so again, we're looking for pairs to bring out. For every pair, you bring 1 out. All right, next one, we're going to have variables. Okay, so this 3 that's out here is okay. So we're going to leave it alone. So I'm going to break down the 18, and I'm going to go 6 and 3. 3 is prime, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it. 6 is 2 times 3, which both of those are prime. Okay, so now I have the 3 that's already outside. Okay, so now let's take my new. I have a pair of 3s, so I'm going to bring a 3 out. Now this 2 here does not have a pair, so it's going to stay. Okay, I should have left some room here. Hang on. Let me put my 3s. Okay, leave some room whenever you have variables. Okay, so now I have x to the second. So that's actually 2 x's. So for every pair, I bring 1 out, and there's no more x's left. Okay, so I have 5 y's. Okay, so I'm going to pair them up. There's a pair and there's a pair. So there's 2 pairs, which gives me y to the second, and then there's this 1 y left over, so it stays. Okay, so then one way you can look at it is if there's an odd exponent here, you're going to have 1 left over. If you have an even exponent, you're not going to have any left over. They're going to be pulled out. Okay, so now the answer, 3 times 3 is 9, xy squared, and then what's left inside is 2y. The 2 and the y are the ones I could not pair up. All right, let's look at the next one. So I'm going to go ahead. 36 is 2 times, oops, hang on, sorry, 18. Okay, 2's prime in a circle. 18 is 2 times 9. Break the 9 down in 3 and 3. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring what's already outside, so 5x. Again, I have variables, so I'm going to leave this space here. So So I have a pair of 2's, so the 2 comes out. I also have a pair of 3's, so a 3 is going to come out. Okay. Make sure that you know that's multiplying. Okay. Now I have 2 x's, so I have a pair of x's, so one x is going to come out, again, for every pair. Now, everything got paired up, so there's nothing left in here. That means we're just going to drop it. Okay, if there's nothing left, drop it. Okay, and then we're going to have 3 times 5 is 15 times 2 is 30. And then we have x times x, which is x squared. So here's my answer. So this answer did not have a square root in it.